We're back.
Hello, everyone.
And by back, I mean us.
It's been such a
also
quiet
democracy.
week. We thought we would drop by just for a few minutes of easy conversation about nothing much at all.
Yeah, you know, I had been feeling like my optimism tank was running low. And now I'm like, I've got enough energy to take me all the way to the midterms. Let's do this.
I'm here for you.
It felt so good to live out again.
You know what? That sense on Tuesday night of, and I remembered something important about that. In the time since I've been scrapping with Donald Trump, election night 2018, good night. Election night 2020, good night. Election night 2022, good night. 2024, not so great. But most of the time, when people come out and do the work they're supposed to do and go out and vote, and most of the time when he's not on the ballot with his special whamma jamma on his base, here's what we get. We stomp the living shit out of the bad guys. And I am in the business, and I know you guys are too, for the next year, until right about this time next year, stomping the shit out of the bad guys, because they have bought every ounce of this. They have ordered it up on DoorDash, and we're coming to bring it to them. And it's not going to be pretty.
I like stomping on the bad guys. It is like the cockroach out of the wall. Like they're all out scurrying about now.
Oh, yeah. It's been bad. You know, and it's funny because the week started bad for Trump. The week started bad with that 60 Minutes interview, which, you know, was a liapalooza.
Yeah. Why don't we?
Yeah, Kate, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll do a quick recap of everything that was said in 60 Minutes. So just for everyone tuning in tonight, a little preview of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to do the 60 Minutes interview. We're going to do a little postmortem for Tuesday's elections. We're going to live out a little bit, and then we're going to give a little shutdown update. But let's get started with this 60 Minutes interview. So in Trump's first sit-down interview since CBS paid him a $60 million settlement for not airing one of Kamala Harris's answers, which, by the way, they edited out a bunch of his.
So many, like half of them.
Yeah, the fact that Barry Weiss was in the interview, not a great sign for the future of 60 Minutes and CBS. But okay.
Yeah, Barry Weiss is like dangling from the ceiling, like waiting.
Right.
So Trump sat down with.
Are you on the spot, Nora O'Donnell, if you cross a line?
So it was also his first interview since Larry Ellison, the Ellisons took over and installed Barry Weiss as editor-in-chief. So some notable moments from the interview include, I'm going to run through these quick and we can back up. So saying ICE raids haven't been going far enough, he would be willing to send the military into American cities using the Insurrection Act and deserves credit for not doing that yet. Trump was also asked about the recent pardon of Binance founder CZ for failing to stop terrorist money laundering on his platform. That pardon came after.
I have no idea who that is.
After CZ, so the pardon came after CZ publicly asked for one, and then made sure Trump's family crypto coin was used to facilitate a $2 billion investment. That coin now generates $80 million a year for the family in interest payments for the Trump family. And when asked if we're going to war against Venezuela, he gave us a reassuring, I doubt it. And when Nora O'Donnell said grocery prices are up, he said, no, you're wrong.
You know,
sometimes, which part of that would you like to zoom in on first? And I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Sometimes the trash takes itself out. And what you saw here was CBS at a corporate level. And I'm not blaming Nora O'Donnell for this, because if you read the whole transcript, her interview was pretty good. And she pushed back on a lot of the points. But they are complying in advance. And when you read the whole transcript, which I was surprised they provided it, but 60 Minutes has always done that, I was shocked how utterly incoherent Trump was. How much it was just like herbally burbly bibbity boop. Because That edit made him look a lot more sane and cogent and together than he was in the full interview.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they don't have to flatter him, which is what it feels like they did. And I listened to it on 2x speed, both the unedited version and the short version.
Oh, yeah.
And there were times where I had to hit pause, not because I didn't understand what he said, but because I was like, oh, no.
Because you couldn't believe what he said.
Like, I was like, I actually need to hear this at the pacing of which he said it.
Right.
And I want to sit with the fact that this man is the president of the United fucking States.
The tariffs have raised $11 trillion. I mean, it's the incoherence, folks. If you're not following it on a daily basis, sometimes you can sort of like think, oh, he's always been that way. Oh, no, it's much more pronounced. It's much more marked than it was. Like today when the guy passed out in the White House and Trump just stood there at the desk like he's waiting for what? What are you waiting for? Why don't you say, hey, get somebody in here to help this fucking guy who just passed out in the White House in the Oval Office. Instead, it was like he looks for a second and then he stares at the camera. Like, I'm waiting for Carolyn to tell me what to do. Is it diaper time or is something else going on?
Well, he's slow. Like, let's talk about the CZ thing because to say that you don't know, like, does he understand
CZ's platform, just so you all know, I'm sorry, because this is like really fucking revving me up, literally is funding ISIS and Al-Qaeda. That's like, ISIS and Al-Qaeda were like, yeah, this platform is really good for us. We should use this more to transfer Bitcoin so we can fund our terrorist operations. That's the guy Donald Trump just let go and pardoned.
Right. Well, and the fact that he says he didn't know him. I don't know him. What part of presidential pardon, like just forgetting the presidential
Autopin Joe Biden had no idea what he was doing. And yet you're pardoning a guy who was facilitating Al-Qaeda and ISIS financing of their terror groups. And you didn't think, like, maybe I should dig into the details here a little bit. And of course, it's all bullshit because his sons are in business with the fucking guy.
Exactly. Of course he knows who he is.
There it is.
And, you know, this is very similar to the Silk Road guy that he
freed,
that he pardoned. And so he's, again, pardoning criminals who are enabling.
Being a criminal himself, he feels comfortable pardoning those with whom he shares so many values.
But the fact that he is not coherent enough to even realize that saying that they're raising is it trillions in tariffs?
He's claiming they've raised 18 trillion in tariffs. But he also makes up number sounds out of his mouth, which is why I mock it. It's like 11 quadrillion gadoodles.
It's like, but I like saying kabajillion, but I'm not the president of the United States, and so
as Eddie Murphy say, how much you got? $1.380.
The standard that he's being held to is so unbelievably low at this point,
right?
And I guess that's the question I have, Rick, is like, what does pushback look like? Because people are like, oh, she didn't push back enough. What does
look? I'm going to give her credit again, folks. When you read the transcript of the entire interview, she did push back on things like when she said, no, grocery prices are up, and he goes, no, they're not. It's kind of hard to, like, at that point, and I get the weird mojo of an interview happening in the White House, and you don't want to stand up and go, fuck you, I'm out of here, you lying liar who lies.
Well, that's kind of what I'm waiting for.
But I kind of wish they would.
Well, because when do we just say enough is a fucking enough? Like, that's my thing. At this point, we need almost like to wake up the American people. We need journalists who are willing to stake their career on saying the truth. You know, Terry Moran obviously did and lost his position because of that.
Jim Acosta and Katie Fang and and Joy Reid and a lot of other people who were not going to play the game of treating a corrupt, lying madman as if he was Ronald Reagan or Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or George W. Bush. Because whether you agree or disagree with those people, none of them while they were in office were batshit motherfucking insane. None of them.
and destroying the country and the economy at the same time. And so it's like, it's almost like, what do we have to lose? Like, I feel like that's the approach that a good journalist right now might want to take, is what do I have to lose? Yes, my career, but this is, you can go down in the books as a hero, as one of the people who stood up to the regime and called it for what it is, as opposed to participating in the sane washing,
as opposed to
gaslighting.
pretending that there are two sides of the coin. We used to say this a lot in 2020. It's like, you don't have to tell both sides of a lie. There is no both sides to a lie. There's the lie and the truth. And you should tell the truth as a reporter and as a journalist. And the edited nature of that package was such that many of the lies he told went uncontested, even though in the full interview they were contested. So I think this really is a sign that a lot of people were given Barry Weiss, including me, a little bit of grace, a little bit of time. Like, maybe she'll be iconoclastic, but she sat in the Oval apparently, or in the White House during this interview, and clearly had her thumb on the scale of this interview, which I think is a bad sign for the network, and especially for 60 Minutes, which is this institutional journalistic property in the country that now seems like, oh, we didn't want to piss the White House off, so we took out the part where he said, I made you pay me money, now you'll do what I want.
And we've got to remember, with authority bias, most Americans at home look up to 60 Minutes as being a reputable source. And so what's said, 100%. If uncontested, if edited out, if what's said is what they believe. Why would they believe anything else? 60 Minutes is 60 Minutes. And so we're in a very, very dangerous territory. And there's an organization, I think it's called Protect Democracy, that put out a authoritarian handbook, like for journalists specifically. And so it's not like the expertise isn't there. Things don't happen in a vacuum. There are other countries that have had to cover autocrats in their own countries. We can learn from our experts and actually implement that, as opposed to sitting around and acting
what a remarkable idea.
Experts? Listen to the experts?
Listen to the experts? What is this expertise you speak of? What witchcraft is this? Get out of this village.
I want to zoom in on one of the answers that got a lot of attention online just for being funny, where she says grocery prices have gone up, and he said, no, you're wrong. That ties to in a speech, I want to say yesterday, time is a flat circle, I have no idea, but it was sometime this week, where he said, like, you need an ID to go to the grocery store. This is a man who's not been to a grocery store. Like, I don't know when the last time he was at a grocery store.
You have to have an ID to go to the grocery store or to pump gas.
Yes.
Well, it's like, I wish I had a banana with me so I could do the, like, what's a banana cost, Michael? $10?
It's one banana, Michael. How much
banana stand?
So, but with that answer, I want to know, how long can Trump, because clearly, and we'll use this to move into our election recap from Tuesday, but clearly there's only so much that he can get away with in terms of, like, saying everything is fine and that the economy is great, when people are going to the grocery store, people who are not him, that have to buy groceries.
You can't spend that. You can't spend that receipt at the grocery store. When people say, oh, look, I just paid $8 for eggs or whatever, that's not spinnable.
What if they're paying $8 for eggs because they didn't show their ID?
Well, look, if you're going to be such a scofflaw as to try to purchase yogurt, eggs, and half and coffee at the store without showing an ID, straight to Gitmo, straight to jail.
Believe it or not, right to jail.
Right to jail. Believe it or not, right to jail. So, yeah, we're throwing a lot of TV references tonight, but I'm here for it.
I like it when we have the TV references.
I'm here for it.
So cost of living is obviously a huge issue for people, as was reflected in the clean sweep that Democrats got across the board on Tuesday, up and down the ballot. So, of course, the big four that everyone was watching: Virginia and New Jersey governor's races, New York City mayoral, and California's Prop 50, and then a ton of others. Do you want to start with a particular state? Do you want to do Virginia and New Jersey together since they're besties? How do we want to?
I think we should talk about how those were two very different states. Actually, I make the argument that also in New York, 3 different places where the candidates who were successful all made the argument about affordability, cost of living, and people and economic opportunity for people.
Mm-hmm.
And in different ways, mind you, because Abby Spanberger is a center person. Zora Mandami is a progressive left person. Mickey Sherrill's probably a center left person. All those races in very different places, people were reflecting back in the electorate. They feel like the economic stress that is on them is, one, Donald Trump's fault, which has the benefit of being true. And two, they wanted somebody who would not bow to Trump, but who would protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And in this economic lesson about affordability, even Trump repeated it today. He said, there's a new word they invented called affordability. I guess we're going to have to use it now. God, you know what? He's going to die soon. And I still don't have a good Trump accent. I still don't have a good Trump accent. Damn it.
Maybe that should be your goal, is before he kicks it, that you...
Before he dies.
Yes.
We
need a vocal coach for you, is what we need.
In my abundant free time, we'll get a vocal coach.
You know, the thing on affordability is it unites people. When you go to the grocery store and you're like, holy shit, that's expensive.
Right.
That is one thing, like you think about the Maslow hierarchies of needs. That's how people need to approach politics right now and campaigning is, if our basic needs aren't being met, just stay with us right there. Stay with us with the food, the clothing, the housing. Stay right there. The childcare, that is something that no one can argue with. You can argue
Caviar,
about
ceviche. Those are the basic human needs.
Yeah, and ceviche. Yes, I love ceviche.
Me too.
This is actually true. And chocolate covered raisins, an endless supply of chocolate covered raisins that don't spike my glucose levels, please.
Once upon a time, as a younger man, I was working.
Kate's like, you're going off topic, guys.
I was working for the Department of Defense, and somebody sent me a bag of chocolate covered coffee beans. 3 days later, I slept again. That's another story for another day. Me and this guy, Mike Warden, were like, and we were like, oh my God. We were so fucking wired. My heart was pounding like it was the fist of God beating on it.
They're divine.
Anyway, back to affordability.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Or let's zoom in on Virginia. So Virginia, every single county in the state shifted blue, some of them by double digits. So Virginia was like really ground zero for the shutdown stuff because there are a ton of government employees in Virginia. Virginia's
how firing 150,000 people would piss people off.
I know, I can't believe it.
Shocking.
And it made me lose my train of thought.
Virginia turning blue.
Turning blue. Also, like the anti-trans stuff clearly stopped working for them.
You know what? This was like the, now that's what I call Culture War album from 2 years ago. And they almost all of their attacks on Spanberger, trans. You want all the kids to be trans and all this, all the crazy bullshit, right? All the dehumanizing bullshit. And you know what? Voters did not listen to it at all. Including Republicans were like, nah, not a big deal.
We're not buying it anymore.
Not playing your game.
And if you recall, we talked about this weeks and weeks and weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
And I said, people are going to realize you can't eat hate. Like you can't live and survive off of hate.
That's a great line.
Or thank you.
I'm going to steal that.
You can. It's all yours. But it's true. And that's what the American people across the board, because, the Republicans want to say, oh, it's just in the blue cities. It's just the blue states where it's happening. And it's
the communist states.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is the end of anti-trans messaging being the sort of top line thing in Republican advertising?
I think for big races, it probably is. Maybe in smaller bore races and in certain red districts, it might stick around. But I think this really showed. And here's the other part of this. Spanberger showed how you deal with it. They would say, what about the mandatory transing you want to do to kids? And she would say, you're insane. Let's talk about the economy and affordability and jobs and transportation and and education. How about that instead? And just treat it like the bullshit culture war attack that it is. They really rely on our side to reply to the cruelty because it is cruel and malicious and monstrous the way they treat trans people. Okay, it is a horrifying, abusive thing. But if you continue the discussion with them, it validates for their people this stupid attack. And so every time that Spanberger was hit with it, and Cheryl to some degree was hit with it also, she would say, no, I'm here to talk about the economy. We got 150,000 people out of work in our state. We've got this crisis of unaffordability in our state. Rents are up, electricity bills are up, and you're talking about something that is not affecting every single person's day-to-day life. And I've got to be the governor for everybody in the state, and I'm going to help them, find a job. I'm going to help them get the economy back on track. I'm going to help improve our schools. And Sears could never unscrew her own stupidity about it, because she had that very earnest kind of, well, they're all perverts and they're all pedophiles, and and it never worked. And most people know somebody who's gay, and a lot of people know somebody who's trans, and for the vast majority, the people that they hear about who are pedophiles and perverts and weirdos end up being evangelical youth pastors who got MAGA hats on in their profile. So
exactly that.
Here we are.
Yeah, and you bring up a real good point, Rick, about the appropriate way to handle it by unapologetically saying, no, I'm going to stick to the issues that matter. I was thinking about this the other day about it being like a math issue. If we always have to respond to their lies, then we're always going to have to do double the work, right?
Because they have an infinite capacity to lie.
Right. So we're responding and refuting the lie, and then also having to build our case. And I think the lies are so egregious at this point that we don't actually need to spend much time refuting it. No. And we can focus purely on that message that brings people together.
Like the communist takeover of New York City with Mamdani.
Like, what the fuck? Like, it's so insane that people
they're walking through the streets hearing the Internationale playing from speakers everywhere, and he sees the means of production already on the first. Get the fuck out of here.
Like, my daughter wrote me, she said, I've already stopped eating bacon in Zoran's, New York.
Respect the law.
I want to talk about one, before we get to Mamdani, I want to talk about one other down ballot race in Virginia, and that was Jay Jones, who famously, if people don't remember that name, you've certainly heard of one thing that he did, which was send a few text messages that were like violent in nature,
not great.
To the least, and
not great. Honestly.
And they were absolutely pounced on by Republicans and the whole right-wing media system. And there's this meme that's like the average Democrat voter is a white wine mom who's like, every Republican is an affront to God.
Right.
And I want to know what you think it means. I understand it's a down ballot race and some people are voting straight ticket, especially right now. But what does it mean that someone with that kind of a scandal out of that nature can still overperform expectations in their election?
Look, everybody's models showed him losing by 0.5 point or winning by 0.5 point or 0.7. And he ended up having a pretty clean win. Not great. I mean, not amazing. But considering that should have been utterly disqualifying. And look, we all have sent stupid text messages in our lives. Okay. No, not one of us. Let he who has not sent stupid text message cast the first DM. I made that up on the spot, y'all. That was
that was good. That was good.
But this guy said some really stupid and horrible shit. But the Republican brand is so poisoned now in Virginia that you can be a bad candidate saying stupid shit and still win. Now, I recommend being a good candidate and not saying stupid shit. That's always been one of my principles of winning elections. But nothing about this guy on paper would have had any chance of winning in an ordinary time. We are not clearly in an ordinary time.
Yeah, lots of buyer's remorse, lots of oops,
people are
remorse.
Really angry, really angry at the economic damage that the tariffs and Trump have wrought on this country. And can you blame them?
Yeah, it's a reminder too. We've always had the numbers. We just didn't have people turning out, and so the high voter turnout is just a testament to the fact that people realized, oops, democracy is a participatory
Yeah,
sport.
maybe you ought to keep like actually coming out to vote instead of just tweeting about it.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
it's just a thought.
Call me crazy.
Do you think that it also has to do with a lot of the takes that I saw about it were, and like in our comments too on social, were that the Republican elected establishment, not just media figures, Trump, namely, is always saying, threatening violence against his political opponents openly and on television, and that the off-year voting Democratic base who's engaged in that way would look at something like this and say, like, you seriously, if you want me to overlook this from Trump, you can't expect me to care about it from this AG race.
Well, let me tell you.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, for me, when I saw the story come out and I was like, oh, this sucks. And then I didn't even bother to really read the text because that's how little I actually cared. Because I'm sorry, after the sheer amount of racist KKK Nazi loving texts that have come out of the Republican side, like,
right.
I'm like, whatever, I'm sure whatever, it sucks. And so I didn't even dive deep into it. And that's normally something I would, but I think it just, when you weigh the balance of what's in these texts.
Let's see. Asshole versus Nazis. I'm going to take the asshole every single time versus picking the Nazi. And so I'm not saying the Republican in this case was a Nazi, but it would not be surprising to find in the age of Groypers and Nick Fuentes being mainstreamed, bad behavior that parallels or exceeds that of Jay Jones. And again, I think Jay Jones showed incredibly poor judgment and should not have run for attorney general if that kind of judgment was in his head. That's not great.
But he did, and he won.
But he did, and he won, and here we are. And I'm going to take the win because you know what? Fuck him.
Is it time to talk about our new mayor of New York City? Mr. Zohar
Mamdani. You see me doing this, right?
Comrade Mamdani? Yes. Hi, Commissar. He immediately imposed a 5-year plan for the beet harvest. So New York has really got a
I want to show one clip from his victory speech that I thought really spoke to the sort of broader energy of his campaign and kind of flew in the face of what he did better than Cuomo.
Is this the one that has Fox so freaked the fuck out?
Which one? I don't know. I don't know.
Play it. I think it is, but anyway, go play it.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
Yeah.
I thought that was very significant because a lot of what Cuomo said was that you're going to have to go through me. It's about me. And I think that he really got into the community of the city and said, it is about all of us. We will all fight this together. What do you think?
Look, I think he was the apex candidate of the cycle. There was no candidate who was even close to his skill in terms of fighting the fight where the fight was, which was on social media, which was digital, which was about affordability in a city that is profoundly and increasingly unaffordable for regular working people. If you live in New York City now, to be middle class with 2 children, you have to make $350,000 a year, and that's middle class out in the outer boroughs, not in Manhattan. That's not a life that people can really manage anymore. And so the idea that he campaigned on affordability and on weirdly this sort of one city and one standard idea was, I think, brilliant. Now look, he's 34 years old, and when I was 34 years old, I was an even bigger asshole than I am now. He's got a job ahead of him that will not all be fun. New York's a hard city to run. It's a tough place to manage and govern. It's got 9 million people, 800 square miles. It is tough to get anywhere and do anything all the time. It's a hard assignment. I hope he does well at it.
I
Go
think
ahead,
he's
man.
going. I think he's going to do well because the fact that he started with, I think, 1%, he was polling at 1%, but because of
Oh,
his
great tangent.
listening skills, his ability to be present with New Yorkers in a way that other people running for office are not while campaigning, even when they're mostly talking points, he was listening points. He had very simple talking points, which
Yeah.
were about affordability and
Affordability.
representing all New Yorkers.
Mhm.
But he spent, I would say, the vast majority of his time listening and understanding and showing that he had empathy for what people were going through. And that is what will serve him well when he's actually leading, because you can already see he's assembled a transition team that is representative of a lot of very smart people. And I saw an interview.
Lena Khan in particular.
Right, from the FTC.
Mhm.
He, in an interview, and it wasn't Fox News, but there was an interview, and he talked about how the business leaders in New York are also suffering. Businesses are suffering because it's hard to attract talent when
Right.
the talent can't afford to live there. And so
Like
that
I said,
doesn't sound like a communist to me. That
you're
sounds like
you're gonna tell a family of four that you're gonna have to live with a 1 hour train ride away somewhere out in Rockaway,
Mhm.
or some equally distant part of the city, or even have to live in Long Island if you're going to work in the city. At the $350 million is barely going to scrape the middle class. That's not going to work, and
Yeah.
the city can't scale. What it'll turn into is a retirement village for rich
Mhm.
people, and that's not the history of New York and the vibrant and rich. Look, New York's been around for 290 years now. It's older than our country, folks, by a good long stretch. And it has always been a place of opportunity
Mhm.
and of ambition and of incredibly hard work. And to be there and do the New York thing is a rite of passage for everybody who immigrates to this country. Every group has come through New York: the Irish, the Germans, the Jews, the Italians, the Vietnamese, the Chinese, everybody, the Somalis, the Jamaican. I mean, it is a city that has a unique role in America. But if most of the city is now completely written out of that story because nobody can afford a 1-bedroom apartment for $10,000 a month, you got to do something about that, and you got to face up to some things. And I don't think the answer is I'm gonna lead like a socialist. I think the answer is going to be I'm going to lead by working with everybody and figure this shit out, because it's going to be hard to figure it out without some free market enterprise motivations for people to build affordable housing and all this other stuff.
And I think he's uniquely positioned to do so because
Sure.
in demonstrated in the fact that he did go to speak with business leaders and find out what can we do to make it possible for you to maybe pay higher salaries to be able to attract people. But also what can the government do in order to facilitate business growth? And so the ability it's like he's got a systems thinking sort of mind where he's able to take to account all of the different variables and measure them against each other. And so I think he's going to do a great job as long as people don't try to sabotage him like our dear leader who wants to.
Oh, well, look, they're going to try to deport him, and Randy Fine's going to try to deport him. And by the way, if you guys haven't met Randy Fine yet or seen Randy Fine yet, he is he's a congressman from the East Coast of Florida. He was so hated in the Florida legislature, and I kid you not, the most MAGA conservative Republicans in the Florida legislature were like, Randy Fine's too fucking much. He's got to get out of here. They hated him with the fire of a billion suns for really good reasons. And he is wildly dedicated to this idea. He's going to deport Mamdani. I'm like, good luck, pal. Try that.
The waste of resources from MAGA desperately trying to de-diversify to homogenize America is absolutely batshit insane to me. Like, if they just spent a fraction of this fucking time and energy on bringing people together, our GDP could fucking skyrocket.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole point of our diversity is our strength.
Yeah, the whole our population is collapsing. We need more babies, but we'll do anything to get that except provide childcare and healthcare.
or do anything to attract people from other countries
Right.
who want to live here and invest in America.
Yep.
And we used to we have brain drain happening right now. Anyway,
We do.
I'm
We have the
sorry,
equivalent
off
of what
topic.
happened in the UK in the 1960s.
I want to ask one more question about Mamdani, and then we have to move on to our shutdown updates.
Yeah.
The shut date.
Much has been said about what Democrats can learn and what they should not learn from how successful his campaign was, other than be better at TikTok, because I'm so tired of that being the only takeaway. Other than be better at TikTok, what should the Democratic establishment take away from the success of the Mamdani campaign?
He knows his target market. He knows his
Yes.
crowd. And so they need to know their fucking target market. Like, it's like in comedy, you know your audience. And so being able to read the room and being able to stay on task, stay on subject. That's it. Simple.
Yeah, I think Maya's exactly right. He understood what to say to the right audiences. And he said it, by the way, in a way that was approachable, accessible. It wasn't couched in like, if you'll read our housing acquisition plan on Appendix 14 of page 79, and you can see on this Gantt chart, he didn't do any of that. And so it maybe felt a little ephemeral to some people, but it was accessible to most of the people he was talking to. He also, by the way, really showed that the social media part of it is relevant, because the blowout numbers he got with younger voters, with voters under 30, first off, absolute all-time records of voters under 30, and got about 80% of the vote of voters under 30. I will say in Virginia and New Jersey also, both Spanberger and Sherrill got young voters in very big numbers, and they brought back a lot of the young voters that Trump thought were a permanent part of the MAGA coalition. They came back to the Democrats. So,
do you know what? I don't know off the top of my head. I do know that Zoran got, I believe, 9% of Trump voters in New York City.
Yeah, in fact, the Lincoln Project voter is back across the country. In the updated numbers in Virginia, it was 9.7. In New Jersey, it was 9. And he got about 9.5 from what I understand. I got to check those notes again. But those are the Lincoln Project voters, folks. Moderate Republicans and independent-leaning, conservative-leaning independents. And Mamdani swept the board with independents.
And something that Republicans probably aren't going to learn from this is that by knowing his target market, he wasn't worried about being Muslim, because New Yorkers were not worried about it. Clearly, it's only these people from these rural backwater areas who somehow think they're going to scare people into thinking that, oh, you can't have a Muslim mayor. And so if Republicans keep trying to push that point, it's like, no, could you have run Mamdani in Georgia? Maybe not. In Maine? Maybe not. But New York fucking City?
But you know what? Here's the other part of it. This is why Fox is particularly insane today. I don't know if you guys follow any of the Rupert verse. This is my favorite Chiron of all time. By winning, Democrats are actually losing. Well, if this is losing, I want more of it. Thank you very much.
I'm moving us on slightly because we didn't even get to talk about Prop 50. That was the redistricting measure in California.
They blew it out.
Counterweight to what Greg Abbott has done in Texas. So the Republican reaction, the amount of cope happening on Fox, just hysterical. If you want to engage in some really good comedy, they are huffing the copium in vast quantities. I want to show Mike Johnson's one of his reactions. We have a few, but I'm just going to show one.
I don't think the loss last night was any reflection about Republicans at all. I think people are frustrated and angry, as we are. I am. The president is, and we express that different ways. But look, we look forward. We're looking forward to a great election, running on our record, and we're gonna get all of our incumbents reelected, and we're going to add to the number here. So that's the answer.
Good. I hope they really take that to heart and really decide to learn nothing and keep doing the same.
They should keep doing exactly what they're doing right now. I would keep the shutdown running for 1,000 years. definitely do what you're doing, guys. You're doing great, Monkey. It's going great.
When he says express that in different ways, like what way, like by voting you out of office? Like what ways?
That'd be high on my list of expressing it. Yeah. And
Right.
Donald Trump expresses it by throwing shit at the wall. Mike Johnson expresses it by power scrolling Grinder. I don't know. There are a lot of ways you can express your anxiety and your fears, Mike.
You can express it by taking off 6 weeks from work and keeping the government shut down, which it's time for us to talk about.
Which I want to lead out before you begin this segment. We just had breaking news. It just came across my messages that Trump has appealed the judge's order that he has to restore SNAP.
All right. Well,
why would you do that? Like that?
Because he's indifferent to human suffering.
I'm gonna read my my update recap as written, and we can make modifications based on that. But let's do this. So the Trump administration, as of when I wrote this, has been forced to walk back part of its effort to use struggling Americans' food benefits as political leverage against Democrats. We'll see if that holds. After initially refusing to use emergency funds to ensure 42 million Americans continued receiving SNAP benefits after the money ran out on November 1st, this past weekend, multiple courts ordered the administration to act. The government now says it will release $4.6 billion from the emergency fund, enough to cover only about half of the usual monthly benefit for the 1 in 8 Americans who rely on food assistance. What happens next month remains uncertain. Now we might have an indicator. But Trump doesn't seem concerned. On Friday, he hosted a lavish Halloween party at Mar-a-Lago where the theme was, and this is official from the White House, The Great Gatsby and a little party never killed anybody. Let's look at
That's
take
a shame, really.
inside the party.
I'm twitching.
I'm cutting that off early. I can't watch anymore. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I was like,
Dollar store pussycat dolls.
Yeah. Guys.
For
him to in one breath say that they're bringing in trillions of dollars in tariffs, which that money's going who knows where, couldn't they, like, they can't snap off a piece of that to fund SNAP? Like, this idea that they are partying as the ship is going down is why people hate Republicans so fucking much right now. So
you couldn't be more correct. That is exactly right. And I hate the phrase optics in politics. I really dislike it as a phrase, but when you've got, I mean, the picture that's out there of these people, all the sequins and all the glitter and all the big hair and all the Trumpian party, and somewhere out there in this country right now, there's a mom with a couple kids who has to get up at 4 a.m. and just to get her kids ready for school, get herself ready for work, and make lunches for her kids and drive those kids to school and then drive to her work. And she's on her feet all damn day. And she's running and hustling all day. She picks her kids up from school, brings them home, makes them dinner, helps them with their homework, gets them cleaned up and ready for school the next day. And by 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, she's sitting there and every part of her hurts. And you're telling me that the greatest thing America can do is to take away the pissant food benefits that this government provides for a working mom who probably makes minimum wage. That's the greatest, that's the best and highest this country can be. It is repulsive. And it makes me so angry. Every time I think about this guy doing this, I just want to lock him into a cage somewhere and make him eat like 1 MRE every 4 days. And make him feel the sort of pain and humiliation these people are feeling right now. In our community last weekend, we heard from a friend of ours who's involved that the main food bank here on Halloween night had 650 cars parked out front. People were sleeping with their kids in the car on Halloween night because this next day, their SNAP benefits were gone. Their SNAP benefits were gone. It broke my heart. I recognize how unbelievably privileged I am in every possible universe. But the idea that these people have their kids in the car on Halloween night, waiting to get food at a food pantry, 650 cars out front. It's crazy.
And
This country is it is a shame that will go down in history in this country.
and it shouldn't matter, but it's
But it
a
does.
large portion of his base that he's hurting. And so when grocery prices are skyrocketing, it's a little insane that they're saying, okay, well, because they also came out and said they sent a letter to grocery stores that have SNAP and
Right.
WIC that
You're
they
not allowed to
can't.
help those people.
And if they think somehow they're going to pin this on Democrats, oh, well, the Democrats want to open the government and that's why this is happening. The numbers say that people aren't buying that. It's
Listen. Every Friday, Andrew and I do the Behind the Numbers polling show. And for the last few weeks, we've been like, how can his numbers go any lower? And since the shutdown started, we've been tracking very closely. There have now been 17 surveys since the shutdown started, national, big time, legitimate surveys. Every single one of them blames the Republicans and Trump. Every single one. Even Republicans know that Trump shut the government down. They get it. This is not going the way that they thought. And as the human toll starts to build up, and it's going to build up very badly in the next week, people are going to realize Trump canceled Thanksgiving. You can't fly to go see your relatives. You're not going to be able to fly to go see your relatives. You're not going to be able to, if you're a SNAP recipient, put food on the table for your kids. It is a truly grotesque and horrifying sin against people.
But what a way to bring people together, because I think everybody now realizes, regardless of political party, that this particular administration does not care about you. And so
they are indifferent to all human suffering. And that's maybe that's too mild. They revel in it, honestly.
Well, it's almost like they're trying to break us. Like, that's the feeling that I get, especially in terms of healthcare and food at the same time. Like, these are two like the foundational things that provide well-being for American families. And so if they're trying to break families so that we don't have the energy to get out and protest, or so we just kind of give in to the fascism. And I think what they're seeing is that's not happening. And so that's why Tuesday was so powerful to me, because it said if we had enough energy to get to Tuesday and still fight, we're going to have enough energy to fight all the way through to the end, to the midterms and beyond. And I think that scares the shit out of them, because they have been acting as if there would be no accountability. And now they're starting to realize, oh, we're going to have to be held accountable for the actions that we're doing right now. So that means we actually might get brought out in front of the Hague. That means we.
Let me tell you, I think there are a lot of people. I think there are a lot of people in this administration who were all. I remember. Think about this, folks. About 2 weeks ago, they were on Twitter joking like, "Oh well, they're just going to have to work harder. They're going to finally have to not lay around and eat those bonbons all day. They got to get a job like the rest of us." A big part of Trump's base is on SNAP. A big part of his base is on SNAP, and a big part of his base is on Obamacare. And the funny haha guys, the trolly groiper assholes in DC and the Project 2025 goons in DC think this is going to go great for them. Their own people are getting screwed, and it's going to come back. And at the best case scenario, those people go, "Fuck these guys, I'm staying home." That's the best case scenario.
So that brings me to my next question, which is, after their wins this week, the Democratic leadership signaled they might be open to caving on Trump's shutdown here. Why should Democrats hold the line? And how much longer do we think that this can last? Rick, I know you put out a piece on all the reasons that this is a terrible fucking idea earlier this week, but maybe let's go
because for the love of God, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, for the love of God, when your opponent has taken his dick out and has set it on fire and is trying to put the fire out with an ice axe, let him continue. That's Sun Tzu. It's a complicated in translation.
I was like, that I had not gotten to that chapter of 48 Laws of Power.
Right. But when your opponent is hanging himself, let him continue. When your opponent is doing everything the wrong way, let him continue. I understand this Chuck Schumer has this unbelievable. I'll tell you a quick story. I'm a bird hunter and I hunt quail, pheasant and quail and chucker, upland game bird stuff. The quail is the dumbest bird in the world. They're cute, they're lovely, but the minute they're born, they're trying to die. They'll walk into the mouth of a fox. They'll stand in the fucking rain with their mouth open and drown. They're the dumbest bird in the world. They seek death at all times. Chuck Schumer is a human quail. He's always trying to die politically. He's always trying to find a way. Like when they've handed him the victory, he's like, well, maybe we should start the race over again. And this time I won't run. And you can have it. You can try again. This will kill every bit of momentum we just built coming out of this year. If they shut this, if they compromise with Trump.
Also,
they're so dumb about this shit.
If they cave now, it makes it look like it was the Democrat shutdown because, the Democrats took action. And so now it's over. And it's like, no, the reason they have to hold the line is because they have to think about this is I don't know the best way to phrase it, but it's the final push that needs to happen to show this administration.
This is the final boss.
The power.
This is the final boss. Now, Chuck Schumer has never played a video game in his life. I had a Tamagotchi. No, but he has never understood the old conception of the Senate of my honorable friend on the other side of the aisle. They sent people to kill you. They do not care about human life. Mm-hmm. They want to destroy you. They want to break you and destroy your party forever. Mm-hmm. And folks, this is why the Lincoln Project is here. Because you know what? You don't have to think that we're suitable for polite company all the time. But we will tell you the truth about what's happening in our politics. We will tell you the truth about how to fight the fascism. And we will tell you when your own leaders are being quizzling fuck-ups.
Yeah.
There is no compromise with evil. People who will starve children, you don't make a fucking deal with them. You break them. You break them. You crack their fucking skull open politically. You tell them, fuck you, open the government. You own this. This is the problem that Democrats have failed to understand for my entire lifetime, that these people are trying to destroy you. And these people are absolutely embracing evil. If you will starve a child, you are no better than Mao or Stalin. Mm-hmm. If you will starve a child for political gain, you are a fucking monster. You're not a negotiating partner. And that's why these people have to hold the line, Chuck and Hakeem. Hold the line.
All of
Sorry,
that.
Guys.
And that's that's exactly it. And I understand. Look, I understand the idea that they want to alleviate suffering, right? Like, I think I'm thinking in their minds, they're going, okay, well, too many people are suffering now and we want to alleviate that suffering, but we have to think about the greater good, long-term gains. This is in the short term is terrifying, but there are enough community members coming together, mutual aid, food banks to ensure that people are hopefully getting what they need. And so if they can hold out long enough to show this administration who's boss, it will be that better for everybody in the end. And so, including for healthcare. So,
look, these people are not good faith actors. They are acting from the worst possible faith. Again, if you will take people's healthcare away, and if you will take children's food from them, you are a fucking monster. And monsters do not sit at the negotiating table in the civilized world. They have to be broken and destroyed.
Yeah, and they're trying this thing with the flight reduction. I know that's the next thing we're talking about. Yeah. Now, this is because TSA agents aren't being paid.
Right, there's no TSA agents in most of these. Not most. In many
what
of
about
the big
$1 trillion fucking dollars? What about the trillions and trillions of dollars?
I want the trillion. Yeah, we've got so many billion trillion dollars. Folks, as you know, those don't exist. But Donald Trump is funding all the mass goons in the street, all the Gestapo. He's funding the fucking Hugo Boss drag queen gnome, Greg Bovino, to run around in his Hugo Boss trench coats. He's funding Carrie Lake, or not Carrie Lake, Christy Nome and her boyfriend, Corey Lewandowski, to fly around in the 2 new private jets that DHS has bought. You're telling me you can't feed kids? There's 44 million families, or 44 million people in 20 million families in this country who are on SNAP. And you're telling me it's more important to have SWAT teams raiding American households and jumping out of Black Hawk helicopters in Chicago than it is to feed kids. You're telling me that's your national priority.
At least they
at Thanksgiving.
They let us know where they stand. So thank you, Republicans, for letting us know.
All right, Kate, I'm done yelling now.
Here. No, it was good. I didn't want to cut you off, but I believe it's time for the lightning round. I gotta call Joey and get a bumper for that. We're just gonna do this until then. So, speaking of private jets, Kash Patel got caught flying like his girlfriend around back and forth on the CIA jet.
FBI, yeah, he's used the FBI jet to visit his girlfriend in Nashville apparently 8 times, and he'll do a little trick. Excuse me. He'll do a little trick where he schedules a meeting with like the local FBI office on Friday morning or Thursday afternoon, stays through the weekend with the girlfriend, flies the jet back to DC.
The real question is, how did this man get a girlfriend? Like,
is his name? Did you see that thing where
it's called Seeking Arrangements?
Is his name Cash App? Like, I believe.
Yes, his name is actually Cash App.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's called Seeking Arrangements or sugardaddy.com, I think. I don't know. There's this whole like weird conspiracy inside the right wing that she's an Israeli spy, which is
I haven't heard that one.
Oh my God, he got honey potted.
He got honey trapped. That I don't know if it's true or not, but it's this whole conspiracy in the right wing world right now. It's like he's dating a Jewess. Oh, is he? Oh, she must work for Mossad.
We're all Israeli spies.
You're all Israeli spies, right?
I'm actually an Israeli spy.
Me too.
Don't tell my boyfriend, who's also Jewish. Oh no!
No.
So, moving on. Just today in the Oval, there was we showed the picture of it earlier. Let me put it back up. Hold on. Trump just sort of stood there while there was a medical emergency, and RFK Jr. just fled the room. I don't have the video handy, but if you look at that moment,
that room like a scalded dog.
That was very suspicious.
As if he'd caused the fainting.
Before we came in here, I had him eat some roadkill guts. You know, I use it to juice up before a meeting.
That's exactly what you want in your of your Health and Human Services Secretary. That's exactly what you want, when he runs out in the middle of a medical emergency. Also, in the Oval today, Dr. Oz gave a speech where he said obesity is tied to dementia right in front of Trump while he like dozed off at the desk. Also in that speech, Dr.
Oh my God, I would have paid money to see that one.
It was on C-SPAN.
Nice.
Go see it.
Well, here's Trump. This is the thing, and in that picture where he's standing there, it just reminds me of like in the nursing homes, like they're used to seeing people pass out, and so that's all this is he's used to seeing.
Renee posted another picture today. Like, during the speeches, Trump looked like he was asleep in his chair. Like,
yeah,
he was.
My other favorite thing that Dr. Oz said today is that he claimed that by the midterms, Americans will lose 135 billion pounds. That sounded like a crazy number to me. So I did some quick math, and every living American, man, woman, and child would have to lose roughly 400 pounds.
Also, does he know how much we're stress eating through right now?
Yeah, no, these people are not good with the math.
No. So, also at the White House this week, Trump renovated the Lincoln bathroom and made it, and said of his renovation that it's like exactly what Lincoln would have wanted, and it was in the same style.
What a bathroom that looks like
a bathroom?
Lincoln looks like a high-end hotel.
Yeah. I was like, I think it's more the Red Rock Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I've seen
it's
those
got that
bathrooms.
vibe.
Marble's
Yeah.
similar. Yeah.
Somebody said that like he sat on the toilet and it broke, so they had to redo the whole thing. What else? So he added the tacky gold cursive signs to the exterior of the White House, labeling the
Live,
Oval
laugh,
Office
love.
in case he gets lost.
My favorite
like-
comment on that. Somebody said, "It's like the Oval Office," and it's like this is a trick that the Wile E. Coyote would use to lure the Roadrunner.
But it reminded me of the signage like outside, like in a hotel, like a conference room or like the ballroom. Like
It's-
this is all.
I believe it's the
all-
same signage he uses at Mar-a-Lago.
It is.
someone
It's
said.
all this ticky-tacky gradu.
It's not
And-
his house.
Let me tell you, when they tear down all this Timu Bukkake glitter bullshit, I'm telling you, I volunteer as tribute. I will go there and scrape it off myself. It is just, it's so, I mean, it's like the tackiness on top of the tackiness on top of the vulgarity on top of the tastelessness.
They'll probably
It's
try to
now-
melt it down and take it with them. That's
East wing
probably
of the White House will
Sorry, I was trying to do B-roll.
Yeah.
Bad at my job.
This is sad though. That makes me sad. I don't
It
want
still makes
anything
me sad.
sad in the lightning round. The lightning
Still makes
round
me
should
sad.
be fun, not sad.
Well, I was about to say I have something fun for you, but I actually don't. So I'm just gonna keep going with the stuff that's not
Damn
fun.
it.
If that's
All
cool.
right,
So,
fine.
Tucker-
Fine, Mom. I'll eat my spinach.
Nick Fuentes went on the Tucker Carlson podcast. That's a really normal person. Two really normal people actually just hanging out. I'm so happy that from the deep recesses of the internet, Nick Fuentes has come to the forefront.
You know what? All these Republicans and folks, the story really took a twist when Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation issued this video saying, "I love Tucker. I'm not going to cancel Tucker." And Nick Fuentes. And even the Heritage Foundation, folks, the home of Project 2025, has had mass resignations. The staff is in outright like freak out. There's a 1 hour and 45-minute video out there. You can find it out there it's on the Free Bacon, but it's elsewhere too. We're even at the Heritage Foundation. These people spent an hour and 45 minutes kicking the shit out of this guy for normalizing Nick Fuentes. If it's too bad for the Heritage Foundation, it's bad.
Woof. Well, speaking of normalizing crazy people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, finally, my last item on the lightning round, has been on her normalization world tour this week. She was on Bill Maher, she was on The View, she was on MSNBC, or no, she was on CNN today. Any thoughts? Because I think hell has frozen over. A couple of times she did open her mouth and make some sense.
If this woman ends up as being the first woman president one day, which apparently is why she's on this tour.
She's on this tour. Look, I think she is playing a interesting role right now because there was nobody who was a more passionate Trump supporter. There was nobody who was higher in the food chain than she was. I think she sees that Trump is dying, that the party will lose its current mode of operation. And she's trying to find a way to be the new player in the middle of the hate machine that they have to become a new sort of populist in a post-Trump era. She's playing everybody right now. She's playing everybody. Liberals especially. This is still not a good person. This is still not a person with a good heart. If she wants to convince me, it's going to take a lot more than a few days of saying, well, we should not starve kids, because she's voted with Donald Trump 100% of the time.
So the only thing that makes me think that maybe this is sincere, that maybe she's changed, is that she got divorced and she's in a new marriage and she's getting some, and so she's happy. Maybe she's happy now.
That does happen, I'm told.
Kate's like, no.
It's like, shut up, Dad.
I don't like hearing my mom and dad talk about that stuff at school.
I don't think anybody is buying it, and I think it's really the image I most have of her is her chasing down David Hogg, and then looking, and then whose office that she was trying, was it AOC that she was like trying to scream at her through the mail slot, and then she also had the video where she was like, Joe Biden's a piece of shit. If you remember that video. So those are the images that are seared into my mind.
I have not found it in me to find grace for her. This is also the Jewish space laser lady. So let's not forget about that.
I've seen people call it.
And her excuse was, she said that she just fell for a lot of things that she saw on the internet, and so she hasn't changed as a person. It's just she doesn't believe those particular things because she was just. But I'm like, okay, what kind of judgment do you have that you're susceptible to that? And I've seen you harassing your fellow Congress folks. Remember when she went? There was the Congresswoman out of Illinois who had a trans daughter, and she went and like put the signs, like, you're still a horrible human being.
Right.
And,
you're still a piece of shit.
Yeah. And then none of that has anything to do with what you read on the internet. So this idea
look, I was having a conversation with somebody today. I'm like, she is playing everybody.
Oh yeah.
And if she wants to explain to America why she's not playing everybody and how this turn came about, she is welcome to come on the Lincoln Project podcast with me. I would love to talk to her. And I'll be fair as could be. But I right now have a vast ocean of skepticism that has a few drops of seemingly reformed behavior about her. I'm just not here for it yet.
My thing about what she does, it has a lot of parallels to like what Candace Owens has been doing for quite some time. It's really audience capture is what it is, because
that's right.
It's like the political convert industrial complex. It goes both ways, but it goes especially hard going from right to left, because you can just start talking sense and anyone on the pro-democracy side of the political spectrum will go, oh my God, as opposed to like, I would use John Fetterman as an example. Like now he's going on Fox News and saying, I don't agree with Democrats on all of these things. You know, it's getting him over there.
He will flip this year or next year, rather. He will flip.
It's not making him like beloved. Like the Republicans will never accept him as one of their own quite. They'll just use him for airtime and for sound bites and to make Democrats look crazy.
It's how they treat Susan Collins.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think one can go on Fox News for audience capture and do what Pete Buttigieg does and go and actually stand up and stand for something, as opposed to just going up and throwing your party under the bus. And so I think but you're right, Kate, the savvy, it's marketing. All it is marketing. And so she consulted with some sort of branding person who was like, wear this dress, stop sounding like a psycho. And which was also performative, right? Like, so her and Lauren Boebert.
There's something. Yeah, that's exactly the performative thing. That's the key note here.
I'm always, and I am aware of how it sounds coming out of the Lincoln Project, the sort of like original political convert industrial complex, as like the former Bush guys who started the Never Trump stuff, but. It's not impossible, but I am always wary of people who come from the hard right.
Yeah, I mean, I came from the center right.
Right.
And here's the other part of this. It proves with time. I opposed Trump beginning in the summer of 2015 when he got in the race. That is a decade ago. I still have liberals who are like, oh, you once upon a time ran a race and you said something bad about. Yes, I did. But for the last 10 years, I've been busting my ass at losing the rest of my remaining hair, turning gray, getting old, fighting this motherfucker. So if she's still in this position a decade from now,
okay, then.
God bless. We'll go barbecue.
All that being said, anything else, you guys?
We have given you guys an hour and 11 minutes tonight. Yeah. And that is good stuff. I have, as you can tell, I have a lot more energy right now because I have turned in my book draft. 1.0 of the book draft.
Very exciting.
Yeah, Whitney
know,
was
when
putting all the calendar dates, all the milestone dates for next year in the calendar. I was like, it real now.
Oh my God. It was y'all don't understand what a relief that is internally. Every week when we do this show, it's like Rick has 30 minutes and I'm running this ship like the Navy. And Rick, when I get a text from Rick tonight that's like, I have the energy tonight. Let's do the full hour. I was like,
woo.
Okay.
Well, we will see you guys again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's a good week, everybody. Take
Have a good
cheer.
week. Good night.
Go
Good night,
celebrate.
everybody.